Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Pete again. And just thought I would do a quick little video because I get this question a lot, especially from first timers. They want to know, how long does it take to actually purchase a property? Which specifically what they're asking is how many properties do you actually need to see before you can decide, submit an offer, and close a deal? Really good question, right? And I'm sure many of you have that question in your mind as well too. And of course I can give you the safe, ambiguous answer, which is that it depends, it depends on you, it depends on your situation, and the safe, ambiguous answer is actually the truth and the reality. But the reason why you follow my channel is because you want to know the real straight goods. You want to get some real actual cut and dry answers, or sometimes even just rules of thumb. Right? But of course, the answer almost always depends on your level of motivation, because when you have people who are, for example, buying a second property as an investment property, person is usually not as motivated to do that versus the first home that they bought for themselves, for their family. Or you've got a lot of people who are buying based on sort of interest rate news. If suddenly interest rates are going to go up 50 basis points, you can be sure that that's going to get a lot of buyers into the market and very, very motivated to get a deal done before the new interest rates kick in. But before we move on and go any deeper and further into this conversation, I really hope that you guys can hit the subscribe button, give us a like, feel free to leave us a comment as well. But just make sure you tap that subscribe button before we move on, okay? I would really appreciate it. And so in answer to the question of how many properties you actually need to see or how long does it take, a really big factor in that question is, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market, right? So because if it's a seller's market, then typically you don't have that much to see. You have less to choose from. The competition is really fierce. Some people are putting in offers the moment that they're seeing the property, like sometimes when they're in the house looking at it. So in really tight markets, and if we're talking about houses specifically, sometimes people see less than 10 houses and they can pretty much decide that they're ready to go. But then sort of in a buyer's market, you could probably, instead of 10 houses, look at maybe 20 or 30 houses, which would be a lot in this case here. And obviously it depends on your time horizon, right? Some people, they can get a deal done in like 2 weeks or a month, which is considered pretty fast here in Toronto. But then there's some people that take longer, they take months and months and sometimes even a year to make a decision of when they're ready to move or if they're ready to move. And so we talk a lot about inventory levels, how many properties are coming out listing for sale, because that ultimately sort of dictates what the price is going to be and how fierce and intense the competition is going to be and how quickly you need to move to get a deal done here in Toronto. So if we're talking about condos, then generally, you have a little bit more to see and to show because there's obviously more inventory because, sometimes even within a building, you've got maybe 2 or 3 options in your price category that you could see. And then in the general area, you may have a lot more than, say, houses. So with condos, if you're looking to make a move fairly quickly within 1 to 3 months, probably seeing somewhere between 20 and 40 units would probably be enough for you. I generally break it out to about maybe somewhere between 4 to 6 units per day. And obviously we're skimming out and narrowing out sort of the better properties, stuff with lower maintenance fees, newer aged buildings, depending on what your criteria is, separating the wheat from the chaff, essentially. The truth of the matter is when you're not really ready, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, and it becomes sort of a torturous job. If you're not 100% sure, what's happening, where you're going to go, if you don't have the motivation to get something done within 3 months, typically you're not really ready, and that's kind of just like window shopping, and that's not really nice or polite to be working and pulling out your agent if you're not really ready to do anything. For the most part, especially for condos, if you're taking more than 6 months to make a decision to purchase something, then maybe you've got to figure out what your criteria is, sort of what's the most important thing for you when it comes to deciding on a place. And you've got to be able to sort of pin down and narrow down one thing at a time, whether it's the location, whether it's the size or the age of the building. Generally younger people, they don't really want to look at anything more than 10 years, sometimes even 5 years. And so if you can narrow it down in that way, then you sort of have the right age or vintage of the property, and it's really a great place to help you narrow down. And again, I talk a lot about it in my channel in my previous videos, which is that sometimes when you're not exactly clear what it is that you like, it's very hard to exactly hit a target and just go for it. It's really more of a process of elimination and figuring out what it is that you don't like, and then just narrowing it down. And generally this takes, anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months. So my advice is to focus on the big criteria, and big criteria things are generally, the location, size, the age of the building, maintenance fees, your commute time to work or any other types of leisure or proximity to family and friends. Those are sort of the big items that you really want to take care of first, and then you sort of work around those large items. And what I always say to my clients or people people that I know is that you want to satisfy the number one thing, you know, the most important thing, because it doesn't matter if items 2 to 6, those are all satisfied, but your number one thing isn't satisfied, then you ain't moving. Nobody's moving anywhere. Nobody's getting anything done. And I get it, you know, I get it totally. You know, window shopping can be fun. And it's like you got this agent, you got the person who's, you know, coming out and helping you, whether that's a friend, a family, or just a really good professional real estate salesperson. And believe me, I get it. It's flattering. Like you want to hang out with people and just check out properties. But at the end of the day, we're here to help you do something, right? We're here to help you solve a problem, you know, transition into a new chapter in your life. And so at some point there has to be, you know, sort of a beginning and a middle and an ending to the story. So just to summarize one more time and to be sort of as cut and dry as possible, in a sort of more of a buyer's market, you know, you're generally able to see somewhere between 20 and 40 properties, whether it's houses or condos. That's sort of in a tighter environment, you know, you might be looking at maybe 10 or 15 properties, and you will have to decide because people are literally submitting offers as you're in the unit looking at it with your agent. And the truth is, if you see anything more than 30 or even 40 properties, you might not even remember all the properties that you see. And so, you know, it's important to go through the stages of narrowing things down and then really honing in on properties that, you know, that leave an impression, that sort of tick the boxes for you. And it's not just about ticking the boxes, but sometimes it's okay to go for something that you really like. It might have a nice feature, sunroom, a solarium, a nice den, you know, for you to work from home. It might have some feature that really draws you to the property. And sometimes that might happen the first time you go out and look at properties. So, you know, it's important to remember that, to keep track of it, because sometimes even though you find something really good really early, that doesn't mean it's the wrong decision. So then what you can do is you can go out maybe 1 or 2 other times and then sort of confirm your decision and say, yeah, you know what, that one that we saw, I can't get it out of my mind. That's the first one that I really, really like. That's the one we should go for. And it's okay to do that. So there are many ways that we can operate, and there's many ways that we can help guide you through the process to help you make the right decision, the best decision for you at any given time. As for all you aspiring agents or young agents out there, as you can see, it's not an easy job by any means, guys, because we have to deal with different types of people, different personalities. They have different biases and histories, and they also have people talking to them and telling them what they think as well too. So there's a lot to manage in this business. And so yeah, generally, you know, sort of a couple of weeks to a couple of months, you know, 1 to 3 months is usually long enough to be able to see enough properties and to be able to make a decision and purchase your first place. And that's if you're motivated. You know, that's if you have, you know, everything lined up already. There's a reason for you to move. There's a specific reason for you to move. Maybe your parents are dropping 50 G's on you and helping you out with your down payment. That's usually a pretty good trigger. But then also what we have to keep in mind is that, you know, you don't have an unlimited budget. You know, nobody has an unlimited budget here in Toronto, except for maybe Drake. But there is no perfect property, to be honest. There's always something that you're going to have to sacrifice, but just make sure that you handle the big criteria, the number 1 thing, the number 2 thing, the number 3 things. And if you can take care of most of those things, then you should be a very happy camper when it comes to buying your first property. And, you know, seeing somewhere between 20 and 30 properties is usually sufficient. So I hope you guys like this video. Hit the subscribe button. Please give us a like. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. If you have any other questions that you would like, post it in the comment and maybe I'll make a video about it. So I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.